It is Thursday, October 13th, 2022. And you're listening to Jared and Mike Tell It Right podcast. Son of a bitch, Jared. So I'm reading in the newspapers. Well, the phone papers.
The phone papers.
Yeah, the phone papers. And I just keep seeing this TJ Miller guy that played in Deadpool.
Yeah.
And I just see him apparently he had some podcast interview with Adam Carolla back earlier this month. Something came out about how Ryan Reynolds, fucking the Green Lantern, comes after him. So they're on Deadpool, and apparently, he just comes out and says, "Oh, Ryan Reynolds hates me. He was really mean to me in a scene." And they had to do I don't know, something happened and they had to do a retake. And apparently during the retake, this dude could just feel that Ryan Reynolds was just taking out all of his anger while on camera or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was reading the article and I'm just this is just really weird. Just fucking randomly just bring up,
Yeah.
I know it wasn't random, it kind of led to it, but it was just really weird, how he came off about it. It was just it didn't seem like it was definitive at all. It just was based off this one scene, and he's just I just wish Ryan Reynolds luck in the future, man. And I'm just what the fuck are you talking about? So whatever. Then, all right, then a few days later, or a few days ago, maybe a day ago, I see another headline, and the fucker's made up. Yeah. And I'm what? So I read this article. Apparently Ryan felt really bad after he read all the news about this one little scene.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden he emails them and says, "Hey, can we talk?" or something. And then it was just in the email. And he just said, "I think it was misunderstood" or something. And now everything's fine.
Yeah.
I was just that is the most bizarre fucking thing I've seen in a while. It's just it was he was, I don't even know how to explain it, but it was just he almost called out Ryan Reynolds for no reason. You know what I mean? And then Ryan Reynolds was like, "Hey, whoa, I'm totally sorry, man.
Yeah.
I started in the Green Lantern, that's one thing." And I don't know. Yeah, it was just weird, dude. It was fucking weird.
I think he just tried to start a controversy to be relevant. Because if that man was not in Deadpool 3, nobody would care.
Right, and he's not. And apparently he wasn't asked to be in Deadpool 3. So that's what it's these weird dot connections. I mean, for all we know, Ryan Reynolds truly did think the dude was a fucking douchebag and was no, he's not going to be in the next movie. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, it's just it's real bizarre.
Yeah, that was
probably right.
But it's not like that man made the movie,
No.
Nobody cared about him. Was he funny? Yeah, it was just a side character that was funny, right? But I would still go and see Deadpool 3 if he was not in it. And I'd probably enjoy it just as much as I like 1 and 2.
And the Green Lantern.
And the Green Lantern. Because of you, I know what a grown man looks like with baby balls.
and the fucking Adam Project while we're at it.
Yeah.
Fucking the Adam Project.
I never watched it. I refuse.
I did. I caved in. And
was it terrible?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, it's weird. If this was a real reality, how do you? Yeah, that's the biggest secret you keep with your life, because you're gonna die in a few years at this point, and then all of a sudden it's I hugged my son twice. It's just it's not a good story, man. But if Netflix has the undisposable, funds to do something stupid like that, then fuck it, let's do it.
I feel like Ryan Reynolds is doing terrible movies like Nick Cage style.
I don't know.
He's got
Well,
to pay for his soccer team, so now he has to. And his failing Mint Mobile and doesn't he own like a tequila company too?
Yeah, I think it's called
Or it's
Aviator.
like gin, or gin or something.
See,
like
and
that.
like I feel like Aviator comes from freaking what's it called? Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Because that's what that movie was about. It was all about like this in the pilot or the aviation industry.
Yeah.
That they were testing aircraft and shit.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Stupid.
I don't know, man. They had fucking Ryan Reynolds. But we do have to rip off the Band-Aid here because we did say in the last podcast that Michelle Pfeiffer was going to be on the show today. And there's just a little mix.
There's a scheduling issue.
We talked with her team talked with our team, and
yeah,
we're getting it rescheduled. We're figuring it out, but
so stay tuned.
Michelle Pfeiffer will be on the show.
That white gold.
Every time I say Michelle Pfeiffer, though, I keep thinking of that Family Guy episode where it's a bunch of Eskimos and the one's just like on a piece of drift ice, and he's just like,
yeah.
I'm going to LA and I'm going to be a famous actor. You all will remember me as Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah.
And it's like clearly a male, like, but like every time I keep saying that name, I just keep thinking like the way he said Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, it was Indigenous Peoples Day on Monday, so
it was. We don't know Jennifer Love Hewitt though. So.
No. But if she wants to go on the show, though, by all means.
By all means, you're welcome. Hey, Jennifer Love Hewitt, did she play on that show Charmed?
I have no idea.
Because I saw that Rose McGowan person that played on that show, and it's another one that kind of got BF'd in the world.
She's a BF'er.
Yeah, she's a BF'er. I mean, yeah, I don't know. We are totally mean to actors, but
no, we act like we have some type of clout behind us that we can just rag on people like this.
Yeah, I know.
Oh well. What else would we talk about? That's their job.
We're fucking ruthless. Yeah,
that's their job.
We're
to critique them.
We're critiques.
I put my pinky up, and I eat Fig Newtons.
How's that working for you?
It's not a cookie. It's fruit and cake.
Fruit and cake. Is it really cake though? It's more like
that's what they call it.
What the hell? So that's a good thing there. So Fig Newtons. So what's the outside? That's considered cake?
Cake
is what you're saying?
Yeah.
So like a Nutri-Grain bar, that's considered cake? Because like I feel like they're the same thing. Just one might be just oats, and the other one might be.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you, but Fig Newtons are supposed to be fancier.
They just sound British, bro.
They probably are.
I wonder if where they were invented.
Probably in New England somewhere.
New England, yeah.
Yeah, in Newton, Massachusetts.
Olivia Newton-John's family owned it, and she took it all to the grave with her.
Right.
Fucking A. Well,
Angela Lansbury died. Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, that's right. At first, I'm like, "Who the hell are you talking about?" But no, it clicked quick. Have you ever watched that show?
Never.
Same. Like it was one of those things that like I feel like was always like in the background. Like when I was like really young, when the show was like out, maybe it was like I don't know if like that was like a favorite of my parents. If it was, God help them. But yeah, I just kind of just remember maybe it's just, advertisements and stuff. Maybe that's what I remember the most. But no, you're right. I've never actually watched the story.
I
But
just
I
remember
know,
the typewriter at the beginning. Like that was the only thing I didn't know of. Never watched
well,
it.
I think the thing was like I feel like shows have made fun of it, but like basically it's like she types out a story that ends up becoming fucking real or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. But it's not like quantum leapish. You know what I mean? It's just like some old lady with a typewriter, just
Cranking
just
out murders.
yeah, it's just figures them out,
um,
And I
yeah,
don't know.
the
I was just gonna say, I don't know if she gets into like fights with people either. If there's like big scenes where like she beats the shit out of people, or like she's about to get the shit beat out of her or something. I
if
don't know how they work
if
that.
if that is in the show, I want to watch it. Like if I would watch Angela Lansbury get her ass beat or kick
Or beat
ass
ass.
or beat
Yeah.
ass. Like I would be 100% for that.
It's gonna be the next
Like
hashtag. Angela. Wait, I'm sorry. What was her name again?
Angela Lansbury.
Angela Lansbury beats ass. Hashtag. Hashtag Angela Lansbury beats ass.
Yeah. Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast. That's the only thing I know her from. She did the voice of. So
Really?
Mrs. Potts beats ass. That's the hashtag right there.
Hold on. Let's look up a good old Angela Lansbury. She's British and Irish. Holy shit.
She would have loved our St. Patrick's Day
Oh yeah.
podcast.
That is probably one of the last things she ever saw.
Might have been what killed her.
Might have been. Yeah, you're right. Beauty and the Beast. Gaslight. That was like a 1944 movie though.
That's
She
what
had
she was.
some Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
The Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah.
1962.
Oh, the original, not the one with what's
Yeah.
his face?
Ooh, let's pull it up. Manchurian Candidate. I'm sorry, Manchurian Candidate. We had Lawrence Harvey, Mr. Sinatra. Then we had Angela, good old Angela. Janet Leigh, Leslie Parrish, and Henry Silva,
Nobody knows anybody but Frank Sinatra.
and Angela Lansbury.
Angela Lansbury. Like if you
Ev-
could tell me one of those people in that movie right now
No.
that you know them.
Hold on,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
gonna look up Lawrence Harvey because I feel like he probably had maybe he had some relevance.
Yeah, what did Larry do?
Nah, Larry, he didn't do shit. Oh no. He played in The Most Dangerous Game. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. The Most Dangerous Match. So nobody knows what that is.
I don't even know the most dangerous
The-
game either. So
No, The Most Dangerous Game. You know what that is. That's the one where all the rich people they hunt people. I mean, like, so like everything, a lot of things are spun off of that. Like you got the Purge, that's
yeah,
kind of similar. And then you got that Squid Games thing. Squid Games
yeah.
is like the most dangerous. It's probably the closest. But the most dangerous game was like an island that these rich people would bring. So I think, yeah, they lured people in, like, you survive, you make all this money or something. They don't tell them though that they're going to kill them. They're just like, here's an opportunity to probably better yourself or make money. So all these people come to this island, and then it turns out all these rich people start hunting them. And so they just got to keep running for their life. I don't know how the fucking story ends or what.
Isn't that the Lord of the Flies? Like, isn't that what that book's about?
It's probably all connected.
I've never read Lord of the Flies. I think we were supposed to in like high school or something, but
It's probably on the list of banned books by now.
probably.
So it's concerns The plot concerns a group of British boys who are stranded on an uninhabited island and their disastrous attempts to govern themselves. So Lord of the
No, I guess not.
Flies is like, yeah, kids stranded on an island and like they just all go ape shit and turn against each other.
Yeah.
Most Dangerous Game is like literally
I gotcha.
picking
It's an
poor
island.
people
Yeah.
to be murdered by the rich, and then their heads be stuffed and hung up on the wall. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, actually, so one of the Google questions is why did they ban Lord of the Flies? Parents, schools, administrators, and other critics have decried the language and violence in the novel. Well, I mean, it's kind of fucked up. It's a bunch of kids and getting all war paint and tribal and shit. And so, like, I think The Simpsons have, made spoofs off of it.
Yeah.
And probably Family Guy. What's that Rick and Morty where it was the one where he had the remote so he could rewind time and do it over again, or the do-over remote.
Yeah.
The plane crashes and they end up becoming cannibals.
They're eating like shoes and people.
That's actually a good thing to talk about is Rick and Morty, because that's really interesting. Like, there's just a lot of fucked up shit that happens, and like nothing makes sense. Like, there's no timeline because they keep fucking moving between them and shit. Like, I guess they don't time travel. They just travel dimensionally, right? Something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. So, but I mean, there is like
there's kind of
what's that word? Chronological order.
Yeah. Maybe I miss it, but maybe there are like where they reset and like correct everything. So I think that episode, at the end, Rick like freaks out on him and he's like, you see, bitch, or like, I told you so, like, or no, he didn't even tell him. He's like basically like, I gave you the option. I'll either, run through it and tell you how it works, or you could go out and have fun. You chose to have fun,
Yeah. Yeah.
But he did fix it at the end where all those Mortys didn't die or whatever, or some fucking weird
shit.
shit.
Reset it.
Yeah. But oh yeah, he's like, you gotta do one thing for me. And he's like, the acid bad.
Out of ass.
He's like, God, all right,
damn it.
Yeah. God damn it. And then the girl came back for him too. It's funny. And she thought he fucking. But that's the thing. Like, at the end, then all of a sudden he goes, like, it's hard. It's so easy to lose track where they're at, because then at the end of that episode, he's just like, all right, it's time to wrap it up. We got to go home. And like Morty's like, wait, what? This isn't even our reality. It's like, hell no. Why would I waste our own reality on this? That shit's hard to find, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But no, yeah, it's like, I think it's really innovative, or like really neat, like what they did with that, like how they came up with this concept of interdimensionality, So it's almost like you can get away with anything with the story because it's like interdimensional.
Well, isn't that what Marvel's doing?
Yeah.
The multiverse, like there's all kinds of shit going on.
Right. It's like an easy crutch to keep something going. Now, you had said something the other day about this last episode of Rick and Morty. And so here's what I'm going to say when it came to Community. All right. There was a lot of jokes they made about that, like when it came to how many seasons there would be before the show would like, end. But they would always say 6 seasons in a movie. Like that was like the big thing in Community. And Community died off after 6 seasons. So the 6th season was the last one. Obviously, they never made a movie, but no, because there was a character in Community that breaks the fourth wall, and he'd he just always imagined their life was a sitcom. So the sitcom you were watching is what this dude was aware of. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So he was always like, oh yeah, there'll be 6 seasons in a movie. And like, they'd all just be like, dude, you're nuts. Whatever, dude. Live in your world. But like, that's where I think like Rick and Morty's going. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a few more seasons after this, because it is
Well, I think
kind of.
they have signed on for 8 seasons right now.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they come out with the movie though. That'd be pretty sweet. But no, what I thought was interesting is, so I've seen Community inside and out like millions of times. And so I know that show really well. And that's what I really like about Rick and Morty. Because I feel like Community was like a precursor to Rick and Morty. Like, so Community was on NBC, so it's a family, when that show was being aired, was more of like a family setting, so there were certain things they were limited to. But like, you can argue they tried pushing the boundaries of that with their humor and all that stuff. But some of the things that they did in that show, excuse me, some of the things they did in that show, they do in Rick and Morty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you ever watch Rick and Morty and they go through the credits and then they come back right at the end with like a random clip?
Yeah.
And I know like Marvel does that, but also remember too, the guys that directed Community, the Russo brothers, actually went on to direct Marvel movies. So, but they would always do that at the end. And,
Yeah.
to kind of extend the story just that one little inch, just so you got just a little bit more out of it. Like, one scene is they did a rap with, who's that one lady that she was a Golden Girl that just died? I can't remember. Betty
White.
Yeah, Betty White. She sang, they did a rap singing Africa at the end with her. But like, they do that all the time in Rick and Morty. Like, they end the episode and then they have this one last clip where they just kind of take a random scene that didn't get a whole lot of attention and they just kind of extend it, give you a little bit more detail on it. I'm trying to think. There's like quite a lot of things that I just feel like from Community to Rick and Morty. I mean, obviously the guy who created it, he's gonna overlap things. So,
well, it's like at the end of the clone one where the wooden Jerry is floating around and the beavers have their little beaver pups, whatever they call them, inside of them.
yeah.
And then he floats away and then he's in sand and he like goes completely backwards because then he's in like cowboy times and then the medieval times. And then it's like back to Jesus. And he's like, we went backwards. Why can't I die?
Because of the varnish.
That's what he's playing, the Who Wants to Live Forever from Highlander.
Oh, okay.
Like the Queen song. Because Rick mentions Highlander in that. He's like, it's pretty much Highlander rules at this point. And everybody looks at him and be like, you've never seen Highlander?
Yeah, I remember that now.
There can only be one. He's like, you guys are going to have to rent that after this. The Asimov Cascade. When he's
Yeah.
explaining that.
No, but like, it's also like, it's just like, I like the Sex Dragons episode, like, like how wrong is that episode just in general? Like, they have a 10 slut orgy with dragons, and then like it's all them, like Rick, Morty, and Summer, and they're all sharing this orgasm together. Maybe don't tell your parents about this one, guys. And then like, then you jump earlier, I think, and you got the incest baby, because Morty uses a horse jerk off machine and Rick uses the sample that Morty filled to kill off these horses. And then all of a sudden the brilliant plan is, oh, there's sperm. They want an egg. So let's give them an egg. Oh, let's use Summers. And then all of a sudden it's Morty's sperm, and Naruto is the baby's name.
Yeah.
Oh
man. Good times.
Yeah. But what happened in this last episode of Rick and Morty? I'm drawing a mind blank right now. Got the portal gun back, kinda.
Is the dinosaur one.
Oh yeah.
It was lame.
Yeah. See, that's real. Like, I feel like they do kind of ramp it up. You know what? Sometimes, like, I only like if they ramp me up to that Citadel of Rick, the Citadel. I feel like that's when it gets interesting once they get back to that. But sometimes, like, yeah, like sometimes I like the Citadel ones better than like when they, where they were fighting Tammy and shit with the Federation.
Yeah, Birdman or Bird Person.
Bird Person.
Well, yeah, that's what they left. Like Bird Person flew off. Where's he been? And then in the first episode of this, we see that Rick that actually killed his family is still alive, and they've done nothing with any of that.
Well,
it's bothering me.
I think they gave us a teaser because you do hear like a scene where like Rick's like, or like Morty's like, what are we gonna do or something? And he's like, Morty, we're gonna go kill your grandfather. Because that's supposed to be technically Morty's grandfather, right? Like, that's Morty's Rick. That one abandoned them. See, I think they're trying to make sense of it all now, because like before it was hard to follow, because like then like Morty fucked up, or Rick fucked up, gave him that potion, destroyed the planet that they lived on, and so they went to another reality where Morty gives them the screwdriver, ironically, and they die.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. But yeah, and then like all of a sudden this more recent, like, again, another dimension or another shift in realities, they have to go to a different reality and do it all over again. That's what I was kind of saying before. I think it was more on an off note. I don't think I said it on here, but like I felt like they were going through it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like from when they started with Rick and Morty. Because now they're in a reality where they don't say Parmesan, they say Parmesan.
Oh man.
So
Michael,
you want to get into this?
We have a show today.
We do have a show
with this movie. Would you like to tell the audience about the movie that we reviewed?
I would much love to. All right, guys. So this is an interesting one here. I don't know where the hell you found this, Jared, but I mean, you pulled it out of a stack that probably hasn't been seen. Well, it hasn't been seen in what? I didn't even put a year on. I think it was 1983 this came out or something like that.
It was like 80, like 83, 84, maybe 86.
This thing's like 40 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, the main character right now looks nothing like he does in this movie. He looks like he's like on his deathbed right now. That's how old this movie is, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's just get into it. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai, Crossing the Eighth Dimension. Shit, I didn't even grab the director on this, but don't matter because we probably don't know who the hell it is. But it does star a guy named Peter Weller. And if you're probably like, well, who the hell is Peter Weller? You know, I don't know who Peter Weller is. Well, Peter Weller was, Jared, tell everybody.
He's RoboCop.
Well, they're fucking RoboCop.
Yeah.
Peter Weller. So Peter Weller plays a dude named Buckaroo Banzai. All right, so Buckaroo is this dude that, what do we say? He's got a Japanese dad, and then he's got a American mom.
I think
Dude,
it's the reverse.
no, it's not. It's not.
Is it?
Yeah, his dad's Japanese. Well, if you think about it, his last name's Banzai.
Yeah,
And
I
if his
guess.
mom was Japanese, his last name would probably be like.
Yeah, and his first name's Buckaroo. That isn't. I guess Buckaroo is a
like that sounds
cowboy name.
Like it sounds like a shitty 1950s like cowboy like hour show.
Yeah.
It's like what that kid from Toy Story, Andy. It's what he would watch. You'd watch Buckaroo Banzai and
yeah,
fucking horse. Yeah, I mean when I hear Buckaroo Banzai, I keep thinking of Bonanza.
Yeah.
Bonanza. But yeah, so he's like this dude that he originally becomes a neurosurgeon, but he gets bored with it. So he like, I don't know, travels the world, learns like everything else, becomes a particle physicist, becomes a musician, becomes a goddamn mercenary. Or, well, they don't say mercenary. They say he studied martial arts. He became a mercenary is what happened. So, before I really get into what the summary is, that was just a little deep on Buckaroo. So he's this multi-talented dude that like literally lives the life. But we got Peter Weller, we got Mr. John Lithgow. He plays the villain, this Dr. Emilio Lizardo.
Yeah. I love John Lithgow. The only like Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah,
I love that. And then the number one thing that I remember him from when I was a kid was Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah. Did you ever see him in Peaky Blinders when he?
No,
he wasn't in Peaky. My bad. He played in Churchill.
Okay.
I think it was Churchill. It was like an HBO special.
Mhm.
Sorry, Winston Churchill makes an appearance in Peaky Blinders, but he's like younger.
Yeah.
John Lithgow played like Churchill through World War II and out until his death. Oh man, he played that well. And I'll tell you what, he made Churchill look like a slob. Like seriously, like you think of British people and you kind of think like, oh, they're all like, really neat and tight. No, Churchill is kind of a disgusting guy. I mean, he was a hell of a leader, but just kind of a disgusting guy. So John Lithgow, he played in that. And that's kind of funny too. I'm sure they wrote that show. They probably, because a lot of times they bring on like a star on a show and they say, hey, we're going to make a show around you. Right.
Yeah.
And that's what they did with Charlie Sheen, with whatever the hell that show was that he got kicked off of.
2.5 Men.
Yeah. 2.5 Men. So they probably like, let's take your Lizardo, face from Buckaroo and let's make you this alien that's chilling on Earth, taking intel and shit. You never know.
What's the guy that's in that with him? French guys that
French Stewart?
French Stewart. He's always just squinting.
Oh my god, they had him on Community and he plays a guy that runs a doppelganger business. Okay. So he's trying to get money from the autistic dude that breaks the fourth wall all the time because he just keeps hiring these like doppelgangers to just reenact scenes. And there's no cameras involved either. He just does it because he enjoys it, So all of a sudden, like everyone at the table, they're like in the lunchroom and like the group's like, why do you look so familiar? And he just like makes this line up about like, you know what, you get into this business, to make some good money, and then you get out right before the peak of the French Stewart market or something like that. And they're like, but yeah, dude, he played it. That was a funny role, French Stewart. Oh God, French Stewart. That's just a weird name. Stewart family, what are you gonna name your son? French, because we love the ketchup and mustard. Or is that Frenchies? I don't know. I don't even know anymore, man. Not in this world. Especially when you're watching Buckaroo Banzai and
crossing the 8th dimension.
So getting out with the characters, we got Ellen Barkin who plays Penny. Penny's supposed to, like, this is weird. Like, Penny's supposed to be like Buck's ex-wife, widow, whatever.
Twin sister.
Yeah, and it turns out she's like this twin sister. And you know what? When I was watching the movie, like, the way they explain that is very fucking quick. Like,
yeah, such a coincidence.
Yeah. I just remember the part. He just like bangs the jail cell, and he's like, "That's it," because she's like, "I'm adopted." That's it. So there's Penny. I don't know. She's hot for the 80s, I guess.
Yeah.
Then we got Mr. Jeff Goldblum.
He's our favorite.
He's our fave. Mr. Jeff.
Life finds a way.
But he plays this he plays this weird character called New Jersey, which is, it's so weird because he dresses up like a cowboy. And they're like, "Oh, what do they call you?" New Jersey. And they're all like looking at him like, "What?" And like his cowboy outfit too is not just like, it doesn't settle right. It's just like bright red and like
it's like Larry Fishburne and Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, and like he's a fucking neurosurgeon too. Like,
yeah,
it's just so weird. Like, oh yeah, you're a doctor, musician, mercenary, astrophysicist, and we're just like the coolest people that ever lived. That's just like what it is. So we got Jeff Goldblum, then Christopher Lloyd plays a guy named John Big Boutte.
These people that made up this movie had to be fucking out of their minds.
I feel like they had a deadline. I feel like they were told they had to make a movie called Buckaroo Banzai, and they had like 10 days to come up with something. Because
every idea that they came up with, they put it into the movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't a wrong answer. Oh, what does he do for a living? He's a neuroscientist. No, he's a rock star. No, he's an interdimensional traveler. Yep, all three.
Oh my God. As Dennis from Engine 54 says, this is a 12-year-old's wet dream. Yeah. I love it. So now, so we got Christopher Lloyd out of the way. He plays a bad guy. Yeah. Then we got our boy Clancy Brown. This is some of Clancy's early sci-fi shit. He plays a guy named Rawhide. He's like in charge of the mercenary, of the security and all that. But he's like some kind of musician too. He plays some instrument in the band.
Yeah.
And then we got Vincent Schiavelli, who plays John O'Connor, another bad alien.
Sounds pretty close to John Connor from Terminator.
Yeah. Fucking James. Shame on James Cameron for stealing content from such a shitty movie here.
I actually think Terminator was before this.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I think it was like 1979 or something.
Just steal it from Terminator.
Right. Sarah Connor.
Make it John Connor. John O'Connor. All right. So here's the plot. Adventurer, brain surgeon, rock musician Buckaroo Banzai and his crime-fighting team, the Hong Kong Cavaliers, must stop an evil alien invasion from the 8th dimension who are planning on conquering the planet. So that's what's supposed to get you to want to watch this movie. So like when you were back in the 80s and you were walking past that poster, that's what it would have said. or you're reading the newspaper or whatever, you'd been like, well, fuck, dude, I got nothing going on this Friday.
So he's
Buckaroo
Japanese. He's Japanese, right?
Did I say Chinese? No, yeah.
No, he's Japanese.
Yeah.
But the name of his crime fighting team band is the Hong Kong Cavaliers, which is Chinese.
So bad. It's so bad.
It's so ridiculous. It's like we're so dumb. Like, this is a cult classic.
Yeah.
Like, people love this movie. And you know how I even heard about this? Remember, have you seen the movie Ready Player One? It's about the guy who like goes into the world like this, like metaverse.
TJ Miller plays in there, right?
Yeah, TJ Miller's in that, right?
Yeah.
In that movie, he dresses up to go to a club with a girl, and he's wearing the Buckaroo Banzai costume, like with the tie with the flipped up collar, and
oh man,
and that's how I heard about it, and I was like, "What the fuck is Buckaroo Banzai?" But then I looked it up, and I was like, "I gotta fucking watch this thing." Like,
I'm glad you did.
Ridiculous. That's how I learned of it. That's how I learned of it, was from that Ready Player One, because that's all about 80s pop culture in that movie.
All right, so let me give you the summary of this movie, guys. All right,
here we go. This is, again, imagine somebody pitching this.
Yeah, imagine someone like, how do you pitch this? And like, so if you ever see the movie The Player, it's like always like, I don't know, it's like, tell me in like 50 words or less or something, like, and I'll consider it.
Mm-hmm.
It was like that's like what everybody would say in Hollywood or whatever back in the early 90s or something.
Yeah.
Whatever that movie was. So I'm just like imagining though, like, it's probably how it really is. Like, yeah, literally, don't waste my time. Give it to me in like 2 sentences. What are we making? You know? And so you got to come up with that. Like, your pitch is literally like 2 sentences. So like, I wonder if they were like, all right, hear me out. Adventure, brain surgeon, rock musician, Buckaroo Banzai and his crime-fighting team, the Hong Kong Cavaliers, must stop an alien invader from the 8th dimension who are planning to conquer the Earth. Like, how could you be a producer and be like, fuck it? So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, money just must have been flowing back then, dude. With the fucking VHS sales and shit, and
I don't even think they had VHS in this year. I think it was like Betamax.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. But so Buckaroo, played by Peter Weller. All right, the movie starts out. He tests an interdimensional vehicle that successfully crosses into the 8th dimension. So because of his successes, these 8th dimensional aliens who are stuck on the Earth start seeing this shit, and it's them all like, oh, we want to take over the planet. So that's where this fucking Lizardo, John Lithgow, comes in. You like find out he was like one of the scientists that, you know, was part of this project. I don't even understand. Like, they don't even really like explain the physics behind this. It's just like this laser beam hits a wall and then all of a sudden it opens a portal.
Yeah. And then
really
a chair like flies.
Well, yeah, that's so they're like in like what, the 50s or something, and like,
yeah,
they're supposed to be younger, and so John Lithgow or Lizardo, whatever you want to call him, he gets into this really like crazy, like, what do you even want to call it? Like, not even a go-kart, but this thing that's on a track that has like a seat, and it almost looks like a crash dummy thing is really what it kind of looks like. That was just made shift in the 50s, made out of like 2x4s and shit. And like, yeah, like something happens where they test this and he crosses like half of his body over because they don't have the speed or something to go through, which it still does. None of this makes sense. Like,
yeah,
they have to build a rocket car and then all of a sudden he travels through and like flies through. But Lizardo is on like a fucking like a pulley system thing, and
it's like a steam engine.
yeah, well, what happens is so Lizardo gets sucked into this thing, half of his body's out, they're trying to pull him out, and like somehow some alien like embeds himself in him, and they throw him in an insane asylum. Well, once Buckaroo comes out of the fucking blue with his rocket car and he drives through a mountain and has like a DMT trip and comes back out, Lizardo's like, oh, he's got the drive. He can get us back home and all this shit. And it starts this whole thing where I don't even want to go through the rest of this because it's just like, it's so fucking crazy going back and forth. So like, here's where the main thing comes in. Okay. So Buckaroo basically tests this fucking vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I should say beforehand, he operates on a dude's brain.
Yeah, he's a neuroscientist. Though.
Yeah, he puts some like crazy surgeon device in there that's gonna like repair like this dude's neural pathways, like really advanced shit for 1983, man. Then he goes and so right after, and I'm serious, like the way the movie is set up, this isn't like a cut and it's like 2 days later. That same day, he leaves the hospital. He comes to the test range, wherever the hell that is. It's in probably White Sands because that's where they usually test all that shit.
Yeah, the salt flats or whatever.
Yeah, and like where the hell was he neurosciencing at, you know? I don't know. So yeah, he goes and he tests this. He goes into the 8th dimension and comes back. Okay. Then later that night, he has a concert. Concert, by the way, we're out of nowhere after just rocking and jamming and like just his eyes closed the whole time. Just stops and he's like, who's not having a good time? And that's where we find Penny, who's trying to kill herself. Bitch was trying to kill herself right there in the fucking bar.
I like how she just pulls out a gun and like puts it to her head.
Like, and then she gets bumped and
yeah, it's so dumb.
What I love the best is so yeah, during all this, the aliens are plotting to try to steal this like device that allows Buck to fucking go in the 8th dimension, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the next day after this bitch gets pulled out, because like, yeah, she's about to kill herself and she gets bumped by like a waitress and like the gun slips up and she pulls the trigger and it shoots the ceiling. So all of a sudden everybody thinks like this lady was trying to kill Buckaroo or was trying to assassinate. And they pull her out or whatever. But Buck sees right through it because apparently it looks like his ex-girlfriend that's dead. And it turns out that this bitch is her sister.
Her identical twin sister.
Yeah, so oh yeah, no, it's cool. Your sister died. I was madly in love with her. But since you're around, I'm gonna fall in love with you.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna continue on and be selfish. Yeah, it's like, all right, so it's supposed to be this action movie, and it's literally this character that is everything you've ever wanted to be in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe you don't want to be a neurosurgeon, but like, you know, doing space shit, aerospace stuff, being a musician at the same time.
Right.
And then also like having like a direct line to the president, like, hey, we're being invaded by 8th dimensional beings.
Or even
don't launch any nukes. I'll take care of this. I promise.
Or even like, even better is you get to bang your wife's identical twin sister. Like, how could you go wrong?
But anyways, these aliens end up stealing this this like device.
The overthruster.
They steal Penny. They kill some Hong Kong Cavaliers on the way.
Bastards.
But Buck ends up saving the day. He hops in an alien spacecraft with an alien.
Yeah.
For one. And they take out this huge spaceship with this little spaceship. That's what I love too. And then what's even better is at the end, the guy doesn't even the alien's like, no, I'm not going to take you to the ground. Buck just parachutes to the ground.
Yeah.
Like, how fucking ass backwards is that? It's like, you don't do that. Hey, don't worry, you don't have to take me down. You know what? It's a lot faster for you to go up. I'm just gonna jump out of the space. I'm just gonna parachute. It's fine, not a big deal. I'm like, how high were they? Like, can't just parachute anywhere. You know what I mean?
I think what bothered me the most about the ships and like everything is like how meaty they were. it's like meat. Like the one guy in like the meat flap suit, like like controlling the big ship. Or I don't even know what he was doing. But like the one guy like turns around and kills him, and then there's another guy that jumps into like the meat suit. Or
I know what you're talking about.
It's like I can't just, the only way I could call it is like a meat suit. Like I don't even know what to call it.
I thought it was like a restraint. I don't know. Like, I didn't know what the hell it was. I just thought not like a restraint because he's out of control, but because they were flying. I was like, it's like your seat. Like, I thought it was like their seat. Like
a meat seat.
Yeah, I'm gonna go sit. And then they get in this like thing, and there's like these huge, like, it looks like gross slime from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like, meat or slime or like some type of excretion. I don't know. The only way I could describe it is meat.
You know what I also thought, like, what got me too is like he had Air Force One in his freaking tour bus. Like, he had two guys that were just constantly watching radar, and like, what the hell? Like, I saw a TikTok. I guess one of the Call of Duties has like I guess like there's this mercenary group in it called Atlas, and they're supposed to be like, they call themselves a superpower. They're like, they don't speak to any government, but like, hey, if any government needs, the power of a super government or something like that, or like a superpower, we got it.
We hired.
And like they have like the best technology of everything and all that. I don't know, dude. It's just like fucking Buckaroo.
Oh man.
But no, the other thing was at the end of the movie that I love that, dude. Where, all right, so like, whatever. There's the ending where so I guess Penny gets really fucked up in the movie. They torture the shit out of her, and apparently, I'm not exactly sure because I thought the one dude's like, oh, she'll pull through, but then Jeff Goldblum's like, I did everything I could, man. I'm sorry. And then he comes and it's like they had a sheet over her like she was dead. And then I think he shocks her and brings her back to life. I'm not exactly sure.
He just like kiss her or something?
Yeah, he tries to kiss her while she's dead, and because he's a necrophiliac. And
part of it.
He shocks her, and then like the good aliens, it cuts to them and they're like winking at you like, yeah, we're gonna make this happen. And and then she comes back to life. But no, I'm talking after that, after they like show you that bullshit about the adventures of Buckaroo Banzai fights like the World Crime League or some shit like that. A movie they never made.
Yeah.
But they, at the end, they just have this shot where Buckaroo starts walking in, and they're like at the aqueducts or something in like LA or something. I don't know. But he starts walking in, and then like the rest of the Hong Kong Cavaliers, one at a time, just start coming into the picture. And then before you know it, it's like this huge, like this V shape, like ducks make when they fly. The duck formation.
Yeah.
I just thought that was like, yeah, dude, like that makes the rest of this movie, like, I mean, like, it's the dumbest fucking movie in the world, but like it's still kind of cool because it's like, yeah, dude, this dude is like what everybody wants to be. Like, like he just saves the fucking world like nothing. He talks to the president like it's his job. And then like, yeah. Well, yeah, and that's what I kind of got out of this too. So I started getting Iron Man vibes from this. Like,
Okay.
do you feel where I'm getting at with this? Because there's that scene where the secretary's like, okay, he's got this rocket car. Like, he won't give it to us. He won't sell it to us. We have to take it, for the, for the people and all this
Yeah.
shit. Well, that's what they were doing in Iron Man. They were trying to
Yeah.
tell him, like, hey, it's great that you have this, but it doesn't belong to you. It belongs in, the hands of responsible people, something like that. So I was getting that vibe. And then when Lizardo was in his insane asylum, in the beginning, and he starts hearing about Buckaroo, I got that same vibe from that same movie where Mickey Rourke is sitting there, his dad's dying, and then he's just seeing on TV Tony Stark, either in that congressional hearing or just like getting praise and shit like that.
Yeah.
And he starts going nuts over Tony Stark. So it's like almost like I feel like Iron Man 2 kind of took some plot points from Buckaroo.
You never know.
You never know.
Maybe it's a cult classic. Maybe that's what they wanted.
What were some other scenes you liked in there that you thought were funny?
I don't know. Just the major one that I still can't get over is when she just pulls out that gun. And like, especially because, like you said, like he just completely stopped. He's like, who's not having fun?
Yeah.
And like, out of nowhere. And like, you just see this depressed bitch, like just sitting there in the back. And she's like, trying to see her.
He wasn't really helping her either because he got her fucking name wrong. Because I think Peggy was the sister.
Yeah.
And he calls her Peggy, and she's never met Peggy, so she has no idea. She's like, no, it's Penny, but who the fuck cares? And then like chugs the whiskey and then starts slowly pulling this little pea shooter up to her head.
Like in the middle of a concert. Like nobody does that. Nobody's like, I'm just gonna off myself in front of everybody.
That would be fucked up. But yeah, like you're right. Like who the writers are sitting there like, all right, so you can't just bring a pretty lady and just gets Buck's attention. We got to do something to really get Buck's attention. Hey, why don't we just like give her a gun and like have her like she's gonna off herself, but she screws up and it just draws a lot of attention to her, and they pull her out like she's a criminal, but Buck sees through it and ends up taking her out of jail and bringing her under his wing.
Yeah.
But like that's the other creepy part about that. So he bails this girl out of jail. That randomly he's just got some energy like, oh, somebody's not having a good time. Why isn't anybody having a good time at my concert? Like, so that was like really weird. But like, remember that part where she's like, why am I here? Why am I here? And like, he explains it, but like the way I felt after, like, I forget, like, he doesn't like quite say it, but he just says like, yeah, you're like my dead fiance or something. You look like my dead fiance. And I'm pretty sure you're your sister. And that's why. And I'm just like, so you're pretty much telling her, yeah, I think your sister died and now I just want to bang you.
Yeah.
And like that was just really weird too.
Everything was just really weird in this movie.
But like, yeah, they killed off Clancy. And I think that's what usually happens to him, or what would happen to him back in the day. But I mean, I'm sure he's still happy with himself. So, yeah, dude. So Buckaroo Banzai crossing the 8th dimension. I'm just trying to see if there was anything other. Yeah, I mean, I don't even think the aliens are worth talking about.
No, they're just dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what we can say is like their names were all John. And that's where we were trying to get at earlier. Like that's why I kind of feel like it was written in a week, because it's like they didn't even have real names.
Yeah.
Well, that's what distinctly made them aliens, was they all shared John. They even tried throwing in there. So that's what it was. They tried relating this to Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, or whatever it was. So it was like, they kind of briefly talk about it. I don't know. That's how they kind of figure out, like, I guess that same area in that story, that's where all these Johns just appeared out of nowhere and like got birth certificates and
Okay.
yeah, dude.
Yeah. Working from the inside out type
But
thing.
again, it just, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, I think a good example is True Lies. All right. So you watch the movie True Lies, and like, so Arnold's, a CIA spy, right?
Mhm.
But he knows how to fly an F-16 too. And you would never, that would never happen. Like, really, realistically, you would never be a F-16 pilot and then one day become a CIA agent. It's just, you know what I mean? It's like your trainings are kind of different, and it's like you're more of a scientist at that point, being a pilot in a way.
Well, I mean, it
know?
was actually a Harrier jet, but
Or
nonetheless.
Harry, whatever, dude. That's right, because it
could do the vertical thing.
is that even an American jet? No, that's a
No,
British
it's a
jet.
British jet. Yeah. Yeah, but he was bad at it. Remember, like he wasn't flying it very well, and he was like hitting shit. Because
I guess it
like,
was a Harrier supposed to be a user friendly, like,
no, not really.
oh wow.
So I mean, he probably had like a pilot's license or like could pilot things, being in the CIA, but probably just was not good.
They don't explain. Yeah.
Yeah, but he probably just didn't know how to fly this very well. He could kind of fly it, but
unless someone was like, "Hey, do you think we should put some backstory on him being able to fly?" It's fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger, dude. No one's
he's a
question
badass.
That 30 years later,
banging a hermaphrodite.
Jared Might Tell It Right podcast. Banging a hermaphrodite.
Yeah.
Fuck?
What's her face?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, she's a hermaphrodite.
Is she?
Yeah, she was born with like a penis and a vagina. I'm not joking.
Next week's episode.
I would look it up.
Podcast.
Look it up.
Jamie Lee Curtis is a hermaphrodite.
We're going to discuss this. Nonetheless.
There was one other thing I wanted to say. What were you going to say?
No, I was just saying, like, Buckaroo, but that's it. Like True Lies, they had to make him a badass. Like, he could do everything and anything, but within a genre, right? That's where this kind of gets away from that. Like, it's cool if you're like a CIA agent and you can like shoot guns really well and you're like a spy. Like, it's,
Tony Stark isn't even like, I mean, like, he kind of is, but it's more realistic. It's like, well, the dude makes weapons for a living,
Yeah.
This guy is like,
he can do everything. Like, who's a neuroscience? So here's the problem.
Like, the Aldi version of Tony Stark.
Yeah. So the thing is this, like, I guess you could do that, like do what he does, but the things that he's doing take a long time to master, right? So like, you would not be doing this type of stuff if you hadn't been putting in a shitload of time doing it, and you would be really old by the time you could master all of this, because you can't become a neuroscientist and a musician. Like, you can't. You don't have time.
No, you could do that. I mean, I think you could, not like a touring musician, but you could,
but
in your own time, definitely
learn to play the guitar or something.
Yeah, but like, to be a touring musician and then also pretty much like this test pilot, but he's really a physicist is what that
Yeah.
role is, and he's testing a piece of equipment. So that's like two things right there. Like he's a physicist that designed this, but he's also testing it. So he's also a trained pilot, or a trained vehicle, whatever.
Yeah.
Test pilot. And then he's working on a guy's brain, but he's using the latest, and most advanced technology of the time, or of this reality. And it's supposed to be this crazy implant that's gonna, repair this dude's brain.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, like you said, like realistically, he would, at that age he was probably at, I mean, it would really even be hard to be able to half-ass all those things.
Exactly.
And
You
be
can't
able to
be
say,
good.
oh yeah, I do that,
Plus there's like a risk factor thing. Like when you really think about it, like, so when you look at the army, right?
Yeah.
So back in the day, like when I was in the army, I was a helicopter crew chief, right? So my job was to work on the helicopters. I also flew around and like helped, with piloting and this and that, and shot a machine gun out of the side. So like I have a dollar value attached to me, right? So like back in Nam, there was still helicopter crew chiefs, but they would not send them as chopper gunners because the chopper gunners would get killed a lot.
Yeah.
And the crew chiefs, they needed to be able to repair the helicopters. So there was a dollar value attached to that person saying, you're not expendable. Let's just send some guy and he can shoot the machine gun and die. But when the helicopter comes back, you can fix it.
Yeah.
Right. So like if this guy's that good of a neuroscientist or surgeon, there's probably something that would say like you can't go and like risk your life doing other dumb shit, or like they wouldn't insure him or something like that because his skills are worth a dollar value. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, man,
I am a neurosurgeon and I'm gonna go play with a hammer. Like
I guess
I'm gonna play that knife game and try to hit in between all my fingers with a knife.
I guess the question is this really creative? Is this like a good story though?
I mean, it's original. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say it's a good story, but it's original. I mean, they really pushed the limits on this. So
I'm trying to think like of another ridiculous movie like this, but like I really can't at the moment. I mean, this like hit everything. Like if there was like a checklist to make a superhero movie, like I would feel like a lot of times it would say, yeah, check one. And then like you would check one in each like section. And then all of a sudden at the end, you'd have your superhero movie, right? Like the foundation of what needs to be it. Like I feel like this one, they checked off every box and like the computer spat this out. This is what you want to, this is how you're going to make your film. Had some like big computer the size of a warehouse. They just put this little piece of paper in. They did a Scantron, and they selected all like the things that need to be in this action movie, and then like that's what it spit out. Buckaroo Banzai crossing the 8th dimension.
Yeah,
the dude that bangs his dead wife's twin sister that never met.
I mean, that's everybody's dream. Like, what else would somebody dream about doing?
It would just be fucked up. If you die, I hope to meet your twin sister and just continue things.
Yeah,
you're a fucking asshole.
Lucky you is a twin.
But let's resolve this guy's heartaches and let's just write in a twin. Yeah, but why not? I mean, and then he continues the relationship from there.
Think of this though, like there's a lot of famous actors in this too for it to be such a terrible movie. Now I don't know at the time that they were very famous,
right?
But I mean, they all went on to have decent careers.
Yeah, they
There's
did.
not one. I mean, maybe that stupid the woman didn't really have a great career, but Peter Weller, John Lithgow, Jeff Goldblum, what's his face, Christopher
Yeah,
Lloyd, like at least those four people right there, which are like some of the main characters, have careers that are still going in some cases.
right.
You know,
What
I
did
mean, John Lithgow still does stuff. So does Jeff Goldblum. Peter Weller, not so much.
Peter Weller, he played in Star Trek, actually.
Yeah, that's right. He was in the newer Star Trek.
Yeah.
He was the bad guy, admiral guy that went bad or something. He had
You
that hot
know,
daughter.
I was just trying to think though, when you see Peter Weller in this, he kind of like he doesn't look like him. He looks like somebody else. And at first it was like,
He looks like Pee Wee Herman.
no,
Of that
he looks
outfit.
like Michael Keaton, I felt like. And then
Yeah.
you started seeing his face and you're like, nah, no, that's not Michael Keaton.
Yeah, maybe.
He's in the newer MacGyver t-shirt. Wow. He's sold out. Fucking
He's sold
Buckaroo
out. He's old. He can't get. He's
Buckaroo
getting Social
Banzai
Security.
plays in MacGyver, the new MacGyver.
How old is he?
Oh, he's like 80 something. Hold on. He's born in 47. He actually might not.
Yeah, he's like 70 something. He's like
Yeah, but
73.
he looks a lot older. There's this one picture, like his skin looks really bad too. Like he's got a lot of freckles popping out. And the picture they use on IMDb, I mean, he looks like he's fucking 40.
Getting old is frightening.
It is, dude.
Like, and what's scary is like watching these people that you grew up with getting really old and dying, and you're like, holy shit.
But then there's Tom Cruise.
Well,
And like,
he's a Scientologist, so he's never
yeah,
gonna die.
right. But like, yeah, I mean, when you look at Tom Cruise, I mean, I would say starting now, you can kind of tell he's getting old. But I mean, like, there's been some actors that you're like, fuck, you've been getting old. Where Tom Cruise has kind of looked like he's been in his 30s for the past almost 30 years now.
Well, he's like he's gonna live forever because he's small. So he's like a small dog, like small dogs
I heard
live
he
for a long
gets
time.
there's this certain facelift you get in Hollywood. All right, it's not crazy, but yeah, and there's certain men when they do it, it really does give them like probably 20 extra years before they start looking like shit. I'll tell you what, my one grandpa was like 84 years old.
Yeah.
He's just like had skin cancers all over his face for like, so like 20 years ago he decided to go get something checked out, and like ever since they've been like cutting shit off his face.
Yeah.
And just like they did to me over here.
Yeah.
But like I started noticing, and I was like talking to my brother about it. I'm like, you realize like grandpa looks like he's a lot younger, right? Like his face looks like he doesn't have wrinkles on his face.
Yeah.
And
Because it's the cutting up all the stuff and the stretching the skin.
yeah, I'm like, for like an 84-year-old, like he does not have wrinkles on his face. Like it's just as tight as ours.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you're right. I mean, he doesn't look like he has plastic surgery, but like, I mean, you could tell like he's got scars on his face, from taking the shit off. But like the same time, it's like it's like tight and shit. And like you're just like, fuck, dude. Like, so you've just been getting cancers ripped off, and they've just been tightening your face this whole time. Is literally what they've been doing, And
I mean, it's the same idea.
but no, yeah, that we realize that that's what's happening there. So, but all right, we got a few more seconds left here, so let's end this off here. So, what are we gonna give this movie a rating on?
You go first.
I'm giving it like a fucking 6, dude.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like, the story is really fucked up. Like, I'm not fucked up, but it's just like it's all over the place. It's just like It's literally like a hyperactive kid, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a neurosurgeon, astronomer, fucking
Yeah.
soldier, like what? Settle down, kid. That's kind of like what I'm saying here. Like, this is like, I'm just kind of like, yeah, like, the hell, let's settle down here. Let's pick something, before we
Yeah.
go off the deep end. But what I love the best is like the particle fist, like what he's actually involved in this movie isn't his first nature. It's not his
Yeah.
first. What is the neurosurgeon, and that's like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That
They
whole
don't
movie.
even dabble in it.
Like they show it, and he's like talks a mad game while he's doing it. You never want to just pull things. You never know what it's attached to.
Yeah.
Starts saying shit like that, and then like we never see him neurosurgeon again.
No.
But he's like flying shit and got a whole
Jumping,
fucking
parachuting.
Yeah. Parachuting, yeah. And so I'm giving it a 6. That's where I'm at.
All right. I'm gonna have to one up this. I'm actually gonna double up on that. I'm gonna say it's an 8.
Oh,
you know why?
When you said double, I thought you were gonna come out of nowhere and be like, I give it a 12.
A 12.
Like,
yeah.
What?
Well, I'm
Scales
gonna
up to
add
10.
yeah. I'm gonna spare you the math here, but it's an 8.
Carry the 2. That's
Yeah.
from Van Wilder, the 2 that got
Yeah,
carried up. That's where it went.
Exactly.
Your rating.
And a lot of that, it's because you just have to see it. It's ridiculous, but because of the cult classic nature, it bumps up a couple of levels too, because there are actually a lot of people that love this movie that are insane, but this is like one of those, like, it came out and people watched it and just loved it because of how crazy it was. It's like all those people that dress up for the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like, it's not a good movie.
No, I
and
imagine
it's weird. But
when my cousin says it's a 12-year-old shitty wet dream, like he's right. Like I feel like this is a movie some kid in the 80s saw, and yeah, dude, all nonstop for like the whole summer. I want to be Buckaroo Banzai. I want to be a neurosurgeon. I want to fly, I want to drive rocket cars. I want to have a cool band that, yeah, fights crime and shit. For one, if there was a band out there today that fought crime, like that would, yeah, world would be ending. You only see that in movies and TV. I'm trying to think what other fucking movies and TV have done, the whole band fighting crime. Sounds like Scooby-Doo at the same time too.
It does. It's like Austin Powers. Like he's like sitting there, like,
yeah,
singing and shit, and at clubs and banging, but he's a spy and shit. Anyways,
at least Austin Powers had a decent, like, consistent continuity to it, and he wasn't trying to bang his dead wife's sister, twin sister.
Yeah. But so anyways, 8.
Not too shabby, baby.
I'm giving it an 8.
An 8.
Yeah.
Okay. With that said, though, I definitely recommend watching it.
Yeah.
It's definitely. I mean, a lot the movies that we are probably going to talk about, they're all going to be recommended to be watched. But yeah, I mean, I stand firm with the 6. Maybe there should have been some spruces on that writing there. It was a little too crazy.
It was rough.
But no, like you said, it did create like a cult following, and there's a decent demographic that, yeah, dude, this is everything. This is more than Star Wars.
Yeah.
This is more than anything. Yeah. So yeah, we decided we're gonna end the show differently this time. Do you want me to say it, or do you want to go ahead and?
Is it the traffic one?
Yeah.
Oh, you can say it if you want.
No, you go for it. I want you to end this.
So, you can leave now and be traffic, or you can stay here and beat your meat. Choice is yours.